Hey Matt, how's it going? Congratulations, man, on the 200 plus subs. Your channel definitely deserves it. You deserve it, sir. For your creativity, the humor, the extremely watchable videos. You just meld it all together into this great big pot of greatness, and you deserve it. So here's my video response to your contest, and these are like the easiest questions, and then they became the most difficult questions, because I started thinking along the terms of current things, things from my past. Uh, what do I base it on? So it took a little while to narrow it down. But here's what he got. Your first one was I had to tell you my favorite movie. Now, my favorite movie would have to be based on something that I could watch over and over again and never get tired of it. And there's a few movies that fit that description. At least 7 titles come to mind. So out of those 7, I had to kind of narrow it down a little bit and bring in some other factors into it. So I'm going to go with the movie that started me off on my venture into horror, made me a horror fan. And that movie is the original George A. Romero Night of the Living Dead. I've seen so many different versions of it. I don't mean remakes, I mean just it was reshot and redone. There was a 30th anniversary edition of it where they added some footage to it, but they shot it in black and white, so they tried to make it look like part of the original movie. It was the most terrible thing anyone's ever done with that movie. The only thing that was just as bad, if not worse, was the colorization. They had the color version of that movie, and everybody looked like they had hepatitis. Terrible. Nobody appreciates a good black and white movie, and I loved it. I love it just the way it is, hands down. Uh, it'd have to be Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, the original. A couple other movies that make that list are Return of the Living Dead, Phantasm, and Shawshank Redemption. Those are some other ones for you, but Night of the Living Dead is my favorite. My favorite TV show. There was a period of time where I stopped watching TV. I didn't really get into too many programs. If something looked good, I would watch it. But that hasn't been the case lately. There is not one series that I follow religiously anymore. And now I'm starting to get into some of the newer ones. So I really don't have a favorite TV show. I do like stuff from the Travel Channel. I like Man vs. Food, Bizarre Foods, things like that. Those are pretty interesting. I do like some of the crime TV, like what's it called? Criminal Minds. I love that show. But back in the '80s was when I watched a lot of TV shows, and some of those were like The Master with Shokosuji, The Equalizer, Spencer for Hire, Magnum PI. So, man, that's another hard one. But I'll say, just to focus on one, I'll say that my favorite TV show right now is a series called Gangland on the History Channel, and they talk about different street gangs throughout the United States and in some foreign countries. Excuse me. It's one of those nights, man. So yeah, right now my favorite TV show would be Gangland on the History Channel. And my favorite video game. Now, everybody knows that I love a good zombie video game. And out of all the zombie video games I played, especially like Resident Evil and things like that, I think my favorite so far, because it's a first-person shooter, is Left 4 Dead, or the Left 4 Dead series so far. There's only 2 parts to it so far. I don't know if that makes a series or not. But I like Left 4 Dead. But all-time favorite, even though I was never that great at it, because once you get to a certain point, you're just repeating yourself, and it gets a little more tricky. And I was never a master at this game, but it's a dead tie. A dead tie. If I see it anywhere, coin op, I have to play it. Okay? Look, see? I got my quarters ready. to drop into the arcade, into the game. And it's a dead tie between Donkey Kong and Miss Pac-Man. All-time favorites. I wish I had the cabinets and had them here in my house. Pinball games are fun. I like them to an extent. Some of them are pretty creative. There are other video games too, like Centipede, Space Invaders. Tempest was always a cool one. The original Tron was cool. As far as console games, the Resident Evil series is always neat. Crackdown from Xbox 360, that was a cool one. I just bought a bunch of games for the Xbox, the original Xbox. But hands down, my favorite video games of all time are tied, definitely dead tied, with Miss Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. And those are my responses to my favorite movie, TV show, and video game. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity to enter this awesome contest. Can't wait to see who wins. And again, congratulations on your subs.